Hey, I'm Stephan Kesting from GrappleArts.com, and today, the 5 most important things that you need to make the transition from no-gi grappling to gi-based grappling. There's a lot of guys who do no-gi submission grappling, and then they want to get better at the gi, and they have a tough time making that transition. Here are the 5 things that I think will really help. Number 1 is grip management. You gotta know how to break grips. It's the most common complaint. I get in there and I just get grabbed and I can't move. Like, if I grab Richie here, he needs to know this grip break. If I grab his sleeve, he needs to know how to break that grip on his sleeve. If I grab his pants down here, I need to rip. If he has me in spider guard, I need to know how to free that grip. If I don't know the specific techniques to break those grips, I'm screwed and I'm going to be there all day long. So that's number 1. Number 2 is awareness of the different guards that you're going to run into in the gi. There are some guards that are reasonably similar except for the grips in gi and no-gi. Closed guard, for example, looks pretty much the same. Some type of guard you're never going to run into in no-gi, or almost never. Spider guard, for example. Right? This is really, really difficult. Or lasso guard. If you're completely unfamiliar with this, you're going to get murdered. Worm guard's another one. You start wrapping lapels or certain kinds of the lapel feed here for the half guard. This is just not a position that you run into without the gi, except for sort of a single leg variation. But it's very, very different. So worm guard, spider guard, gi-based De La Riva guard. So De La Riva guard is a good example. There are no-gi De La Riva guards. I'm working on a no-gi De La Riva guard product with Rob Bernacchi, actually. But you do it differently in the gi and without the gi. You can get much more tangled up with the gi. For example, with the gi, it's okay to put the foot here. Because if I start grabbing here, Richie gets the sleeve. And you can start feeding it between the legs here. In this position, which is terrible, doesn't really have an analogy without the gi. So you got to know the types of guard that are more prevalent in gi than in no-gi. The third factor is that there are gi-based submissions. I mean, the classic example here, cross chokram guard, right? Like, if I'm here, no gi, I'm pretty safe. I'm not going to get guillotined here as long as my head is higher and you can't see the back of my head. But if I screw up with the gi, I am going to get choked a million different ways here. Even more embarrassing, if he's a no-gi guy and I'm an experienced gi guy, he's going to get caught in all kinds of stupid chokes from stupid positions. Positions where I'm passing his guard and he chokes me out, or positions where I'm actually in his guard and I go forward and I Ezekiel choke him here. Like, that's just not going to happen in no-gi world. Does happen all the time in the gi world. So you got to know the gi-based submissions. The fourth factor is a thing of pacing. Gi is generally going to be slower than no-gi. A lot of guys go into no-gi and they're used to relying on their explosiveness and their athleticism. They're just exploding out of positions and scrambling. It's a little bit harder to do if you're managing and fighting for a whole bunch of grips. Doesn't mean it can't be done. You can definitely do explosive and athletic movements in the gi, but they need to be set up more, and they're less frequent, and they're also longer periods of, counter for counter type grip battles. That's why people say it's more chess than checkers. I don't think that's 100% true, because no-gi can be super technical, but it's going to be a little bit slower, and you just have to account for that. And the fifth factor is a mindset thing. You have to stop going from the gi being a problem to the gi being an interesting puzzle, right? It's like, take the problems in your life and turn them into challenges. That's what you're doing. So if you get caught in some terrible position where your lapel is wrapped around your leg and then fed through the other leg and then around here and you're all wrapped up, don't go, oh shit, I hate the gi. Go, what an interesting problem to try and solve. And it's like a friend of mine, Brandon Mullins, says, don't be afraid of a gi-based solution to a gi-based problem. Yes, in general, you should have a game that's pretty much the same, gi and no-gi. That way you don't have to spend all the time to develop 2 entirely different games. I get that, and I'm pro that idea. But at the same time, in the gi, you're occasionally going to run into problems that are gi-based problems that require gi-based solutions. So just to review, let's see if I can get all 5. Grip stripping. Learn the techniques, the specific techniques to break sleeve grips, cross sleeve grips, lapel grips, cross lapel grips, weird lapel wraps, pant grips. Learn how to break those grips. That'll really, really help. Secondly, learn some of the gi-based guards. Learn how to do a basic spider guard. Learn how to do a basic gi-based De La Riva guard, because you're going to run into it. Even if you don't use it, you should still know how to do it. The best way to know how to counter something is to know how to do it yourself. So learn a little bit about the gi-based guards. Third, learn some of the gi-based submissions. Once again, you don't have to become an expert in the Ezekiel choke. But once you learn how to do an Ezekiel choke, you're much less likely to get caught in it. Learn how to do the basic paper cutter choke. Learn how to do the basic cross choke. Learn how to do, basic baseball choke. And then you're less likely to get caught in it yourself. Fourth, be aware that the pacing's different, the timing's different, things are going to be a bit slower. That's okay. And fifth, accept the challenge. It is a bigger world, right? No gi is pretty complicated and pretty in-depth. Gi is like that, just with more. It's an even bigger world. So it will take some time to make the transition, but don't worry. The grappling that you did in no gi will definitely serve you well once you do the other things that we've been talking about today. So good luck with becoming a cross grappler, grappling in the gi world and in the no gi world. It's great to do both.